Morning all. Thanks for joining. I'll get kicked off here, just conscious of time. So my name is Rachel Dempsey. I'm the Technical Solutions Specialist in Viatel Technology, and today we're going to be talking about our AI solution. And this is part of a three-part webinar series. So we're on session 1 at the moment, which is about unlocking your AI journey. I'll speak to the other 2 sessions at the end as well. So I suppose, look, the big question is why AI and why now? But AI is already a part of how people are working day to day. So the question is more so how to use it safely within your organization. So today I'll be talking about starting safely with Copilot, understanding the difference between the free version and paid, why governance is essential before scaling it out across your org, and how Viatel can help you on that journey. So our ethos is to start with the foundations, accelerate out across the organization, and then eventually to move into agentic transformation. So I suppose just to look quickly at the scale at which AI is growing, it's already been incredibly fast, as you can see, faster than anything previously, even including the internet. So this is important because organizations don't have the luxury of waiting anymore. Users are already experimenting with AI. 75% of workers are already using AI in some form, often without a formal rollout, but we're already seeing strong ROI from AI, around 3.7 times. The value is being realized quickly, often within the first year, and the biggest impact is in day-to-day productivity tasks. With that usage, I suppose there comes a risk, and we've seen a significant rise in data security concerns relating to AI. So the point is here, employees are already bringing AI tools into work themselves. So it's not a question about allowing AI or not, it's how do we safely roll it out in a controlled way. So just to kind of level set and to talk about some of the basic terminology there. So an AI is a tool that simulates human decision-making, essentially. It's based on an LLM, which is a large language model, which is a type of AI that's trained on large data sets. Generative AI then refers to AI that creates new content. So that can be text, videos, photos, whatever it might be. AI agents are bots that are created to carry out a particular task. There are certain different types of agents. Some are autonomous, most are not. I'll be talking more about agents in session 3 though, so I won't be digging into it too much in this session. There are various AI solutions out there on the market. You've probably heard of most of them: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and so on and so forth. What we'll be talking about today though is Copilot. So that is Microsoft's AI solution. Shadow AI refers to the use of those AI solutions without an organization's explicit knowledge or permission. And shadow AI is in use across almost every organization at the moment. So we're looking at Copilot in particular because it's different. It's built within Microsoft 365. So your data doesn't leave your tenant, and it's built on Microsoft's enterprise-grade security. What that means as well, I should say, is that the Copilot is not trained on your user data. So your data doesn't leave, and it's also not used to train the AI model. So there are 2 versions of Copilot, which we'll be talking about today. So there's 2 different experiences. One is the free experience, which is called Copilot Chat, and the other is the paid experience, which requires a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So the free version is a web-grounded AI assistant, whereas the paid version is work-grounded. So it has context of your organization and it has access to your tenant files. For the free version, it's relatively low risk, and it's a good way to experiment for organizations that are interested in starting their AI journey and maybe are unsure as to how to go about that. If you do want to look at rolling out paid licenses for your users, there is a real reliance there on good data posture, and we will talk about that a little bit more as well. We'd recommend then, if you're rolling out those free licenses, to carry out light enablement of your users. But for the paid version, we would recommend more tailored enablement sessions, so they can be tailored to your industry, your org, or your department. So to dig a little bit into the free version then, Copilot Chat, your web-grounded AI, the strengths there are, I should mention first, it's included with a lot of the Microsoft licenses. So it's probably available to the majority of users already. It's included there with Microsoft 365 Business Basic Standard Premium, your Microsoft 365 E3, E5, the legacy licenses as well. So your Office 365, E1, E3, E5. It is already available on those licenses. So one of the strengths there, of course, is that there's no additional license cost. It's relatively quick to enable, to light up for users. And it's great for just general researching, drafting, generating ideas. The limitations, though, are that it doesn't have tenant awareness. So it doesn't have any context from your Outlook, from your teams. It has no understanding of your role or your organization. So the responses there are generic. On the other side of that, then you have Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is the paid version, and this is work-grounded AI. So it can access all of your documents, your meetings, your emails, and so on and so forth. So it's pulling out much more contextual information. It respects all of your existing permissions. I know that this is a concern for a lot of organizations. Copilot isn't going to surface anything that you don't already have access to. So all of your existing permissions are respected when a user accesses Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's also embedded in your Microsoft 365 apps as well. So you can use it from within Excel, from within PowerPoint, and so on. And it's fully controlled and auditable in the Copilot Admin Center. So I'm going to move into a demo then just to show you how the two versions compare. So to start with, I'm using the free version, Copilot Chat, and you're going to see here that the responses are quite generic. So again, this is the free version. I've just given it a prompt there to create a project plan for launching a new company website, include phases, timelines, roles, and key risks. So it's not going to be able to pull in any organizational context here, but as you can see, it's able to pull a pretty specific project plan out for me. So I have project plan, phases and timelines, UX and information architecture, visual design. It's giving me key activities and deliverables for every one of the phases. So whilst it doesn't have the context of my organization or my role, it still is able to pull in this sort of generic information. And you can see how quickly it works and how much time can potentially be saved here. Just give it a second there. Phase 7 and so on. I'm just going to skip forward slightly, sorry, just conscious of time. We have our roles and responsibilities, and I think the last one then is our key risks and mitigation strategies. So it's still a really powerful tool, and it's able to pull out a project plan very quickly there for me, which will essentially is saving a lot of time. But it's not, it doesn't have the context of my organization. From here, though, I can prompt it further. So you'll see that I have various prompt suggestions here at the bottom, but I'm actually just going to input a new prompt here. So because it already has the information about the project phase, I'm now going to ask it to draft a 30-minute project meeting agenda for this website launch. So it is learning all the time in this chat, building on the context that I'm providing. But again, it's not looking at my emails or my Teams files and so on and pulling in context there. But again, it's really quickly now pulled out a meeting agenda, the various topics to be covered, and so on and so forth, as you can see. And lastly, then, my last prompt. I've just asked it to, I'm going to use one of the suggested ones here, convert it into a Teams format so that I can just really easily copy and paste this into a Teams or an Outlook invite. And there we have it. So again, look, it's either way, it is saving time. And it is really useful. As you can see, it's built out a project plan there for me in a matter of a couple of minutes, but it doesn't have the context of my organization. What it can also do, and I'm just going to change to a new chat here. Because the free version isn't grounded in your Microsoft 365 apps, so it doesn't exist in your Outlook or in your Excel, like the paid version does. But you do still have the option here to drag and drop a file in, which is what I've done there. So I've dragged and dropped a file in on ISO standards. It's just a generic file. And I can ask it to summarize this document and highlight the key action and risks. So it's not grounded in those apps. You can't access it from within those apps as you can on the paid version, which I will show you. But you can still drag and drop a file in and ask it to pull out key points as well. So you'll see that that's pulling it out there for the ISO document. So again, still a really useful tool and still saving me a lot of time. But without that organizational context, all of the responses are quite generic. But again, you can see the speed at which it works. Okay, so I'll move now to the paid version, just to show you then, I suppose, the increase in capabilities once you jump up to the paid version. So this is now a user account that has a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. This then has the context of my work organization. So instead of keeping it generic, I've asked quite a specific prompt here. What is the current status of the charity run project based on my recent files, emails, and conversations? So for context, this is in a test tenancy that I use. And I have said that I'm arranging a charity run in the Phoenix Park. I've had various emails back and forth between my test users about it, meetings, and so on and so forth. So because this is the paid SKU, and it has access to my emails, Teams meetings, and so on and so forth, it's able to pull in all of that information. So you can see there that it has pulled it in and it's actually giving me the sources. So this is taken from a Word file, the Focus Ireland Charity Event Project Plan. I just said it was for Focus Ireland. This is from a email thread called Charity Run Sponsorship Ideas, and so on and so forth. So it's much richer now, and it has all of that context. And it's going to show you the source for everything that it's pulled in. So this is from a meeting, and that's from a loop component where I wrote out a task list. It's also giving me specific information about users in my organization and what their responsibilities are in this project as well. Just give it a second to load, apologies. But yeah, as you can see then, it's much richer, as I said. So the free version is great and gives you those generic responses. But once it's embedded in your tenant and in the files that you have access to, you'll find that it's, the capabilities increase dramatically then. And an executive summary as well. So I'm going to prompt it again using a similar prompt that I used for the free version where I wanted it to draft a meeting. But this time again, because it can pull in all of the information, it's going to be much more specific. So let's just pop that in there. Draft a meeting plan for the next charity run catch-up meeting based on the latest project updates, include agenda items, key discussion points, and decisions required. And again, you can see that this is pulling in information from my calendar, from previous meetings, from Teams messages, from emails, and so on and so forth. It already knows the attendees. It knows the time of the weekly meeting because it's pulling it in from my Teams calendar, and it's able to work out an agenda for that 30-minute session. You can see as well that it's already has associated certain outstanding tasks with specific users based on the information that it was able to pull. So again, a much richer kind of environment and a really like an improved experience as well. What you can also use it for there then is to just search certain topics about particular users or projects in the org. So here I've asked, what's the latest update from Sean? Summarize any key actions or items I need to respond to. This here has pulled in an email that Sean sent me previously, asking whether I have received the marketing brief from the marketing team. He's also looking for an update on the monthly reports, and he wants to know if I'm attending the barbecue on Friday. So that was the latest email that I received from Sean. It has also used the context of the charity run to, I suppose, put that together and assume that the marketing brief that I was waiting on relates to the charity run and therefore is of the highest priority. So it's able to pull in that context as well. And lastly, then, just to show you that it exists, sorry, I'll show you go back there. It exists within your Office 365 apps, as I mentioned. So the free version does not, but the paid SKU, as you can see there, I have a Copilot icon in the bottom right-hand side of my screen once I'm in an Excel file here. This is just, again, a dummy sales file, but I have that shortcut there for Copilot. And from there, I can analyze this Excel file from within Excel itself. So I don't need to drag and drop. So that is still an option, but I can access it directly here as well. So I've just asked it to summarize the key insights from this file, highlight top performing regions, product category, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, I can pull it out really quickly there as well. So that exists within all of the Microsoft 365 apps. I've just used Excel as an example. You can use it within Word to generate content within a Word file. You can use it within PowerPoint to create a PowerPoint slideshow. You can also use Copilot to create a PowerPoint slideshow from an existing Word document. And you can then instruct it in PowerPoint as well as to how to improve your slideshow as well. So it's embedded native in all of your Microsoft 365 apps. Okay, I'll jump back into the presentation then, guys. Just bear with me. Sorry. Great. So look, just a quick breakdown then on, I suppose, the differences between the two. Copilot Chat is free with those particular licenses that I've listed on the previous slide, and the slides will be sent out to you. Microsoft 365 Copilot requires an add-on license as well as a relevant base license as well. Your chat then is web-grounded AI. You're just getting generic responses. Microsoft 365 Copilot is work-grounded. It uses Microsoft Graph in the background, which means that you're getting full access to tenant files and full context of your organization then. The free version on the other side doesn't have access to tenant files, and it's no longer available in the Microsoft 365 apps for organizations under 2,000 users. Microsoft appear to be rolling that back. So for larger organizations, the shortcut is still available in the Microsoft 365 apps on the free version, but it's important to note it doesn't have the context of your org. So on the free version, even if you can access Copilot, say within your Excel file, it won't be able to see that Excel file in particular. It's just opening up the web-grounded AI. So it's limited in its functionality, and Microsoft appears to be rolling it back. So the free version is great for like general summarization, drafting, comparing files, and so on, whereas the paid version supports department-specific productivity and efficiency gains. With regards to agents, and again, I haven't mentioned them much here, but we'll focus on it more on the session in a couple of weeks' time. There's no access to agents on the free version, but on the paid version, you can access both existing and custom-built agents. So Microsoft have several existing agents out there that are available on the paid license, but you can also custom-build your own agents for yourself, for your department, or organizational wide as well. What we would recommend then, if you do want to roll out Copilot Chat across your org, is to carry out some light enablement for your users. And I suppose the data review is not absolutely essential on Copilot Chat because it is not accessing your tenant data. If you do want to light up the paid license for your staff, we would recommend full user enablement just to ensure that users are getting the most value from it. And we would also strongly recommend a full data review. So just to talk to that a little bit, the data security, data governance piece, Copilot outputs are only as good as the information that it has access to. So things like universal folder structures, naming conventions, data sensitivity labeling, and so on and so forth. Clean data in general increases the accuracy of the output from Copilot. If you have unstructured data, duplicate files, and so on and so forth, Copilot is looking at several different sources and might be pulling out incorrect answers. Just a note as well, I know it's a concern for a lot of organizations around permissions. Copilot respects the existing permissions that are in place in your organization. That means, of course, if your permissions are too broad, you've got an increased risk of a data breach. But if they're too restrictive as well, confidence is eroded in the tool and you'll find that users just won't use it. So the cleaner the data, the better the results. And just to note as well, I suppose it's really important, Copilot doesn't increase the risk or even create the risk. It just exposes the risk that is already there. So our recommended actions would be to make sure that your data is ready before you start scaling out Copilot. And I should specify there the paid license across your organization. So there's 3 different tools that we would recommend and we will assist you on your journey there. So the first one, I suppose, is around readiness. So are we technically and operationally ready to roll out Copilot? We can run automated assessments to check this. If you want to ask, are we potentially oversharing data? SharePoint Advanced Management is a great tool to help identify oversharing. And if the question is, what should Copilot be allowed to access? We would really strongly recommend Microsoft Purview then. So Purview allows you to, first of all, alerts you over the potential risks that might be there, but it also helps you shape how Copilot works within your organization. If you'd like to know more about any of these options or indeed anything in this presentation, in particular Microsoft Purview though, we do have a separate data governance and Microsoft Purview webinar, which is available to all customers as well. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. So this structured approach ensures safe adoption of AI. Sorry, I was just freezing there. Lovely. So look, Viatel can assist you on this journey. I know it does seem overwhelming. There's a lot there. We will assist you in carrying out those security assessments. We'll give you guidance on licensing. You might find that you only want to license maybe a small cohort of users on the paid license initially and give other users in your organization access to the free version and from there scale out, or you may want to roll out licensing across the entire org. We'll provide you on guidance there. If you do decide to scale out across the org, we will scope that out and we can do a structured rollout of licenses across the org. We can also provide enablement, so that can be enablement of the users using Copilot Chat, so the free version, which is relatively straightforward, but also we can do tailored enablement sessions then for users that have licenses, just because the capabilities are so much stronger there. And again, that can be tailored to your industry, your organization, your particular departments in your organization, whatever it is that you require. So I just want to, I suppose, finish just talking a little bit about the potential productivity impact that you can see with Copilot. So I've referenced a couple of studies here, and again, the slides will be shared with you, so you'll be able to access the links to the studies there. The first one was a UK government study, which rolled out Copilot across 20,000 users. They found that users saved approximately 26 minutes per day. The second one there is a Forrester TEI study on Microsoft 365 Copilot. So again, these are all on the paid license, and they found that users saved about 27 minutes per day. The last one then is a Microsoft study, which found that 11 minutes was kind of the threshold. And once you got to the 11-minute mark, productivity benefits increased notably. So if you're looking at somewhere between 11 and 26 to 27 minutes, you could potentially say that a user is saving, 15 minutes per day using that paid license. What that looks like then, so on the left-hand side on the grey, we have our 15 minutes per day, which again is probably conservative, given that two of the studies found between 26 and 27 minutes a day. If we say even that a user can save 15 minutes per day, you're looking at an average of 55 potential hours saved per user per year. So you can really see how that ROI comes back to you. On the right-hand side then in the pink, I'll be very transparent here. There aren't any studies carried out on how much time using Copilot Chat, so the free version, saves users. But even if we estimate here that it saves them 5 minutes per day, I think that's pretty conservative, but you can see how quickly it built out that project plan for me, even on the free version. But if we're conservative and we say it saves even 5 minutes per day, you're looking at 18 hours potentially saved per person per year. So it's a really significant impact. And lastly, then I suppose just to mention again, this was session 1 of our Copilot webinar series. So session 2 is next Wednesday at the same time, 11 to 11:30. It's on Microsoft Teams again. So it's an interview with Brian O'Shea, who's a Microsoft Solution Architect, and our own Ailish O'Connor, who's Director of Strategy and AI in Viatel. And it's just going to be a conversation around, I suppose, our Copilot journey, how we built the foundations, how we carried out that data review and put the governance in place, how we enabled our users, how we then scaled out across the org, and how we started transforming with agents as well. And that's really where we are at the moment. We are still building out agents within the organization and trying to build agents into existing workflows and trying to kind of optimize there as well. So that should be a really interesting one. I'd recommend joining that one. And the following week then I'll be hosting again, and we'll be looking at agents in particular. So again, just to stress that we would really emphasize getting the foundations in place first of all, and then scaling out and enabling your users, and then moving into the next stage, which is transforming with AI agents. So I'll be talking a little bit about that in session 3, showing you the agents that already exist, as well as how to custom build an agent in your organization as well. So I think that is everything from me, guys. I will move to a Q&A there. I'll just check the chat to see if there is anything after coming in. Oh, apologies. There was a question there coming in from somebody earlier on saying, asking, was I still in the chat even though I was on the fully paid version? Yeah, so it looks very much the same when you are in it. You're in it's essentially a chat bot that you're interacting with. The only difference being when you're on the free version, you're just accessing, the work grounded AI. When you're on the paid version, you actually have 2 tabs on top, one for work and one for web. So you can choose where you're searching, whether you're searching only on the web or whether you're searching through your work documents. If you are using and interacting with the chat on the work side of it, it is still pulling in information online. It's not as if it's closed off completely, but it's grounding the answer in your work data. And yeah, there's a question there about the sessions being recorded and shared. Yes, they absolutely will be. Yeah, with regards to data security as well, there's a question there. Yeah, look, if you're using Copilot, Microsoft has given you the guarantee that your data is not leaving your tenant because it is built on Microsoft's enterprise grade security. Obviously, there are limitations with the free version as well, but regardless if you're using Copilot, a Microsoft tool, and you have a base license in place, you are bound by those security rules as well. Okay, I think that was everything, guys. If there's any other questions, please pop them in. But the slides will be shared with you shortly, as will a quick form just to get some feedback on the event as well. And if you could join the next couple of weeks as well, I'd really recommend them. But I think that's everything from us. Any other questions, you can pop them in the chat and we'll follow up with you directly as well. And if you want any more information, just please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. Okay, thanks very much.